Good evening, viewers, and welcome to Straight from the Heart. I am your host, Ian Thomas, and this evening in studio we're sitting with Mr. Ali Dowden, the NDC caretaker of St. George Northwest constituency, and recently returned Queen's Young Leader. Welcome, Mr. Ali.
Thank you, Mr. Ian Thomas, and thank you for having me in your studio.
Congratulations on being one of the Queen's Young Leaders for 2016. What was the experience?
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. My experience was a wonderful experience. I would say it was awesome. At the same time, I'm very humbled by the award. I'm grateful for the experience because it gave me the opportunity to network, to build my networks. I've met with several young leaders and also older leaders from across the Commonwealth during my trip. So I'm very humbled by the award, and I see the award not only for myself, but also as an award for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, and all the young people that make up our country.
All right. How would you rate the experience that was meted to you by both the people of Grenada and the government of Grenada?
Well, in terms of the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, they have been extremely supportive. I've received a lot of congratulatory messages, words of encouragement, love and support, and even prayers. From the government standpoint, I am yet to receive that. No recognition at all was given. They have not put out any statement or made any call or anything to even recognize that a young Grenadian like myself would have received the award. At the same time, of course, many persons might have heard of my bittersweet experience in London when on 2 occasions the High Commissioner were invited to partake in the activities, but for some reason never showed up.
Do you think that was deliberate?
Well, I believe it was deliberate. If we look from here in Grenada, even before I went to receive the award and now that I am back, it seems like that is a policy of the government to just victimize a young person like myself, because of course they have not given any recognition, be it from the Minister of Youth, be it from the Prime Minister, the government or the ministry. And of course we see that same attitude being displayed by the High Commissioner of Grenada to London.
Okay. Well, it's sad actually to see, because if a young person, a young man from Grenada is being awarded by one of the highest powers and he gets no recognition from his own country, I think it's something that we should point out, and I would like for you to really expound on the experience, because I understand the High Commissioner not coming. Every other country that was represented by the young leaders had some form of representation in London. You didn't have any representation from Grenada, neither any what's it called, the ambassador there?
Yes.
So I want you to talk to us about that, please. Again.
Yes, well, of course. After receiving the award on Thursday, what would have happened is that after the ceremony itself, we then went on to have a reception with Her Majesty the Queen. And at the reception, the High Commissioner would have been invited to attend. However, the other countries had their High Commissioners in attendance, the other QILs from the Commonwealth. Mine were clearly missing. It gave me an opportunity though to meet with other persons. I met with other individuals of the trust, the Queen Diamond Jubilee Trust. I also had the opportunity during that spare time to chat with Prince Harry, so I'm grateful for that. Then on the Friday morning, we met with the Secretary General for the Commonwealth, Baroness Scotland, and at that, it was basically a breakfast meeting, and we supposed to meet with the High Commissioners at that meeting. Of course, the other High Commissioners from the other Commonwealth countries attended, but then again, my High Commissioner was clearly absent. So it was a bittersweet moment, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether I am NDC or NNP. I am Ali Dowden. I am first and foremost a Grenadian youth, and it's the message that you're sending out there to all other Grenadian youth. It clearly shows that it's not a government that really cares and wants to recognize the hard work of Grenadian youth and other people in general.
Mr. Dowden, you care to elaborate on your London experience, the Queen's Young Leaders experience, and the whole what took place in London?
Sure, Mr. Thomas. I left here on June the 16th and returned on June 26th. So I was out of state for at least 10 days. During that time, of course, you know that I traveled to London. The major reason why I traveled was to receive the award. However, during that period, we had a number of activities. The day's schedule was very much packed. For example, the Monday, I'll give you a typical example. We went to Twitter in the morning. After meeting with Twitter, we then went to BBC World Service, where we met with the director of the BBC World Service, and we had a walkthrough of the operations, learning the different aspects that make it up. Then we went down to 10 Downing Street, which is the Prime Minister's residence, where we met with Sir John Major, the former Prime Minister. We met with the Secretary of State and also another minister. After that, we traveled up to Cambridge University for 2 hours by coach. And at Cambridge, we had a welcome reception. We got there about 10 o'clock English time. And I spent 2 days at the Cambridge University, where I met with my online lecturers. And we had workshops and coaching and mentoring sessions for the 2 days before we traveled back down. The award came with, it was a package. So it came with a 1-year online course with Cambridge University, and the course is called Leading Change. And I'm very grateful for that educational aspect, because it is a wonderful course. So we spent 2 days at Cambridge University, and the other days was spent back down at the residency in central London. We visited some top companies, PwC, Price Waterhouse and Coopers. We met with a marketing company. We also visited the Shard, which we had our closing ceremony. It's now the tallest building and most eco-friendly in London. I believe it has about 60 something floors, but we got to the 24th floor. Also, at that, we being in London, we went to I went to the Children's Hospital, Great Ormond's Children's Hospital. Then I went over to St. Mary's Hospital to visit a social action group called Red Thread, and they're a group of young people, and they're stationed at at least four major hospitals within London, and they focus on gang violence. So young persons that would come into the hospital with wounds such as stabbing or gunshots that's related to gang violence, and they would counsel these young persons and find out what caused the problem, and if it is that they need to move from the environment that they once lived in, they would offer those services. So that was a unique experience, because it's the first time I heard of a group like that. We also, as I said, met with the Commonwealth Secretary General, and she will be launching a program soon. It will be called the Commonwealth Secretary General Youth Ambassadors, and we have all been invited to be a part of it. We then went on to, we did some sightseeing, museum, library, Tower of London, London Eye. So it was a good package. We met with Sir John Peace, the chairman of Standard Chartered, which is a bank in London. We had that meeting with the bank executives and get a bit of an insight into the bank. So it was a pack schedule, and I was very grateful for that. I also want young persons here in Grenada to know that the search is now on for the 2017 awardees, and I'm looking forward to Grenadians youth taking an active part in the process. Please apply. The process is online. You can also contact me. I would be able to help you. You would be nominated and then shortlisted and move on to the process. So I'm hoping to see not just one youth for next year, but I'm hoping to see at least 2 youths coming out from Grenada, because some countries like Barbados had 2 young persons. Canada had over 3. So I'm looking forward to that.
How prestigious is this award?
Well, it's the Queen Young Leaders Award. It's it's a short program. It's only for about 4 years because it's basically celebrating her diamond jubilee on the throne. So it came about just for that specific purpose. But of course, we would continue doing programs and different projects as Queen Young Leaders. We would always be considered as Queen Young Leaders, even when that program comes to an end. And it comes with certain privileges and certain recognition. In October, we all will become fellows of the Commonwealth Society. So there's a lot in store that will come from the award.
So how was Ali Dowden identified by the Queen? And her team? How was Ali Dowden found by the team?
Well, it was a process. I had to be nominated. References had to be sent in. They had to do all their background checks and screening, because there's an advisory panel that handles these applications. And then of course I was shortlisted. Out of 2,000 young persons that applied throughout the Commonwealth, 60 of us were chosen, I being the only one from Grenada so far.
So your suggestion for the upcoming year, what are your suggestions to the young persons here in Grenada? How do they apply? Do they have to be part of an established organization? Do they have to be doing different things in their communities individually, or do they have to be part of a group, or whatever the case may be? How do they get
Yes,
the recognition?
you have to be active young citizens within your community. Of course, giving of service to country and to your fellow countrymen and women. Also, you have to be within the age range of 18 to 30, so you have to be a youth. These are two of the main criterias in terms of applying.
Well, I too old for that.
Of course, you have passed that age. That is unfortunate. GYS.
As a Grenadian youth, as you pointed, involved in politics, what are some of the issues you think that are facing the Grenadian average young person currently?
Well, at present, there are a lot of issues. Top on the agenda is that of unemployment. We're fully aware that at least 65% of our population is made up of young people. Out of that 65%, at least 50% of our young people are unemployed, and this is from most recent statistics that even the Caribbean Development Bank would have published. So that's the first thing. The other area is that of education and educational opportunities. While there are some scholarships, it's a bit limited and it's not as diverse as one would like. So there's a lot of new emerging areas, for example, the creative industries, these areas, skill areas. We don't have a lot of scholarships in those areas. Then the way also that the scholarships is being given out, you would remember under the NDC there was a scholarship desk that was set up, a committee to screen persons and so forth. So even the way that is handled. So and you would also remember that under the NDC we had a vision that by 2025 at least one young graduate per household. This of course, that vision of course has been hampered because we lost the election, but it is our hope now that if we win, or when we win once again by God's grace, at least by 2030 we can accomplish that vision that we had originally set out in 2008. So that covers education. Another major issue is that of housing and land. As young people, we want when we come out, when we acquire an education, we then want to find a job, and then we want to make an investment in a piece of land and start a family and build a home. At present, the price of land and being as a young person, not having collateral, and also housing, and I think that is one of the priority areas. While we do housing schemes for a lot of Grenadians, but we need maybe something specific also, like some other countries that they do for young professionals, and maybe some soft loans and so forth, line of credit, special interest rate, and special rates for land, just like how under Gary we had land for the landless. Maybe we can have some form of land program that can assist young people and young professionals. So those are some of the major issues currently facing our young people. And also the issue of leadership and governance. Young people want to be much more involved in the process, because we see ourselves as not only the future but also the present too. And so we want to be able to sit at the cabinet level, to be able to make decisions, to sit on the various government boards. We want to play a leading role in our country, because at the end of the day, 2-3 years or even 10-15 years down the line, most of us will still be in that category of youth, based on our age, and of course we want by then to have a much better future than we are experiencing currently.
Okay, so the proposals, your government, your intended government, what plans you have for the young people? Would you include young persons in your cabinet? Would you guys include young persons on your boards and so forth?
Well, this is a policy of the party from since now. We have included young persons in all organs of the party, and we intend to take that right into government. So you would be seeing young ministers of government sitting at the cabinet level, making decisions, holding ministries. You would see young persons sitting on government and statutory boards. So that takes care of the governance and politics. You will also be seeing the setting up of the National Youth Council and starting back the secondary school councils. We want to see youth involvement throughout. In the area of education, as I said, we will continue that vision of trying to accomplish, at least by 2030, 1 young graduate per household. We also want to go out there and have more scholarship opportunities for our young people in a much more diverse way, so that therefore we cater for all the different fields that a young person would want to be a part of, not just the traditional ones that currently exist. We also would be providing a line of credit, so special student loans, so that our young people can be able to have that right to education. In the area of housing, of course, you would see special prices of land for young persons. We want young people to be able to own homes and own land. So you would also see maybe a housing scheme being set up catered towards young professionals, and whereby they pay every month, they make a contribution. So those are some of the areas that we'd be looking forward to. Of course, in terms of employment, the Imani program simply would not cut it, and it is our hope to establish a national youth service program. This would of course include apprenticeship, and it will also include volunteerism, giving back to the community. You would also see the setting up of cooperatives. So those would be areas whereby we would be getting our young people involved and creating employment, looking at the creative industries, the young artists, the upcoming talented designer, these areas. And also looking at setting up some factories. How can we train our young people, and at the end of the training have the opportunities ready for them to be able to access that form of employment.
Now, you're the caretaker for St. George Northwest. You're running against the Prime Minister. What are some of the issues that are facing the people of your constituency are faced with?
It's quite similar to some of the issues that I just expounded on, and that have to do with unemployment. Unemployment in my constituency is at an all-time high. So that is one of the major issues that I will be faced with, that I'm confronted with, to obviously find solutions. Also that of housing. A lot of our people still have housing challenges, even going back to Ivan days and pre-Ivan days. People still use pit latrines. Some people still need electricity and water. So those are areas, that challenges that we have. Even that of land regularization and skills. They need some opportunities, much more opportunities in regards to education. A lot of our people, they're not that skilled, and so we must carry out some more training in those areas.
Ali, you've been very busy in recent times, moving through your constituency, assisting in different areas at different levels. I want you to point to the viewers as to some of the things that you've been doing in St. George Northwest that would be able to stand out, so to speak. in the eyes of the people?
Okay. Well, most recently, first of all, we have just accomplished a major milestone in that of opening our constituency office in the Grand Mall area, and that office will serve as a beacon of hope and representation to the people of St. George Northwest. Because it's a big enough space, it is my goal to use that to carry out training programs, training our people in skills. There's some lands to the back that I intend to put to good use with the young people. There's sufficient space on the property, so we're going to be doing different even employment initiatives with the young people in the constituency. Besides that, I have been throughout the constituency providing wherever I can. Some people, for example, it's now graduation time, so some people I have helped in terms of paying for the school fees so that their children can graduate, helping with getting stuff for graduation. I have also helped persons with housing repairs. Even there was a family, I believe, yes, back in 2014 that the fire would have destroyed one of their home in the Fontenoy area, and we played a critical role during that time in getting the students ready for school, because it was just about a week before school would have reopened for the Easter holidays, and helping with the repairs of the home. And also, most recently, for example, we would have distributed in the Bousséjou area at least 2 wheelchairs for persons that were in need, Pampers. So there's a lot of areas that people ask from time to time, help their children to get to school, be it bus fee, be it lunch, that sort of stuff. We have been quite active in the constituency, doing food hamper distribution, not only on special occasions like on Christmas, but also on a monthly basis, for needy persons in the constituency. So we have been doing a number of initiatives in Northwest to see how we can help ease the economic burden on persons.
Well, Mr. Dowden, it is apparent that you have a lot of money. Because if you could take on all these initiatives, and you need to give us at the studio here some money so we could do some work.
It's not about having money, but it is about using the little that God has blessed you with to bless others, and also by getting other people involved, not only people in the constituency, but persons outside the constituency that may have the resources and that would be willing to assist.
Your entrance in the front line of politics, how has that affected your personal life and your professional life?
Professionally, it has had some challenges in terms of employment-wise and me finding employment. That has been a challenge, but most recently I've been able to find some form of employment in that of real estate, and that is going well thus far by God's grace. Personally, of course, it has its challenges, but at the same time it has its opportunities and advantages. It has strengthened me as a young person. As they say in politics, you have to have thick skin. So it has strengthened me in that area, and in terms of maturity and how I handle and approach situations. But of course, I may have lost some friends along the way, which is a bit unfortunate. But overall, I would say it is a success. I do not regret it. I think it's the best decision I've ever made in my life, at least one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, in terms of entering frontline politics, whereby I can give of myself in service to my country. That has been so much blessing me.
Well, we're in the Carnival season. I know you're from a Christian background. What mass am I seeing you playing this year? What show am I seeing you at this year?
You will not be seeing me at any.
So you'll be at the show, you'll be at the church?
I will be at the church, praising God. I do not encourage persons along that line. At the same time, I would not prevent anyone from doing so. That is one's own free choice and will. God has given us a choice, and if persons feel that that is what they want to do. But I would encourage persons, while you go out there to experience the culture, at least do it in a mature way, and at the same time do it in a way that will uplift you and not degrade you. So I don't expect to see, for example, a young lady, or a lady in general, a female, who I would normally see on the street well dressed and proper, seeing them during the Carnival season almost wearing nothing, and then wondering if this is the same person that I have known all my life. I expect them to carry out themselves with dignity, use restraint and caution, and be very careful on the nation roads, and also in terms of your alcoholic consumption.
So you're not playing mass?
So I'm not playing mass.
Not going to the shows?
Not going to the shows. But
Praise
if I have the time, I will look at it on TV. So I will be able to see all who went.
Okay. So you're going to cast expulsion on those who went?
No. I'll be able to give feedback. Positive feedback.
Anyway, viewers, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Dowden, for being here with us this evening.
Mr. Thomas.
Viewers, you just witnessed Mr. Ali Dowden, the current caretaker for St. George North West. He's the young man that is going to be running against the Right Honorable Dr. Keith Mitchell. And he's hoping really to dethrone this gentleman from the seat. Anyway, viewers, thank you again for looking at Straight from the Heart right here on GBN TV. I am your host, Ian Thomas. Thank you.